Good morning, everybody. Sorry I'm a minute late, but I was just double checking a few technical things to make sure we didn't have the same technical problems we had yesterday. Life is good. Everything is good. Everything's working great. Let's get into it. Got a great show for you. We're gonna talk a little bit about Ukraine. We're gonna talk about the Trump trial updates. Got some really interesting stuff going on there. It's just gonna be a good show. Hang in there, folks. Good morning, folks. We're going to start with just a little bit about Midas Touch. They have they're doing something really amazing. The Republicans have been stepping all over themselves. They have just been screwing up by the numbers, and Marjorie Taylor Greene is heading the way. She's done something phenomenal. Let's just start with her and what she has to say, and we'll go from there.
That's what this is. The Uniparty is Make Ukraine Great Again. The Uniparty is all about funding every single foreign war. That's what this is. The Uniparty is Make Ukraine Great Again.
Yeah, the Uniparty BS she's talking about, like Republicans and Democrats are all the same, one big party, yada, 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 all her crap. But the MAGA hat thing is just perfect. And let me pull this back up for you. You've got to love the guys over at Midas Touch. Mine is on the way. I hope you get one yourself. I'm going to do a little plug for Midas Touch for you. You're going to love this. They took the MAGA hat and since nobody owns it, they're selling it. Make Ukraine great again. I love it. I'm gonna put a link to the Midas Touch store down in the comments a little bit later if you want to get your MAGA hat. Mine is already on the way. I absolutely love this. Talk about stepping on rakes, man. Talk about stepping on rakes. The Republicans are just screwing up by the numbers. At the exact same time that we have Trump's attorney in the trial entering into evidence a tweet from Michael Cohen where he calls Donald Trump von Schitzenpants. Not kidding. They put that into evidence themselves at the exact same time. And this is not ironic, folks. This is not ironic. This is really happening at Trump. They think this is a good idea. This is Trump supporters at Trump's last Trump rally. Real men wear diapers. Yeah, I'm not kidding. I am not kidding. At the exact same time that all over social media, everybody is absolutely lambasting Trump, calling him Don Snorleone and Don von Schitzenpants, and because he's sitting there, falling asleep and farting all over himself in the trial. They thought it was a good idea to do. This is not a joke. No, this is not. This is non-ironic. And let me show you. It's not just these guys. I mean, they have made flags. Not kidding. This is legitimate. They really are running with this. I am telling you, the Republican Party, when they ran people like Frank Luntz out, and they ran people out that actually knew, they actually knew how to reach people. Yeah, Mobius, real men wear diapers, apparently. And this is not, I got to tell you, it's catching on with them. They think this is a good thing. These are, I mean, look, these are real. A Trump hat wearing. This is not a plant. This isn't somebody, altering images or anything. This is just, wow. You people, I just want to clarify something. Look, I realize we got a good community here. I realize that. I realize we got a decent community here, and I realize you people, you promote my stuff online, and I'm grateful for it. But if you ever put anything out like this on me, I swear to God, I will block you forever. Yeah, no kidding, Kim H. What's next? Real men don't take showers? Yeah, give me a break. Give me a break. This is just freaking hilarious. This is hilarious. And yeah, if you're paying attention, Von Schitzenpants is absolutely trending all over social media because Trump's attorney, nobody did this to them. This is self-inflicted. Trump's attorney found a tweet from Michael Cohen where he referred to Don Snorleone as Von Schitzenpants, and he entered that into evidence in Trump's trial. Not kidding. When the jury gets the evidence at the end of the trial, and says, okay, here's all the evidence for you to review. The tweet from Michael Cohen calling Don Snorleone Von Schitzenpants is going to be in there. It's actually part of a strategy, though, folks. Right now, this morning, what's going on is you've got Todd Blanche trying to bully Judge Merchan. Harvey Weinstein's conviction got overturned, right? We didn't talk about it on the show, but that was pretty big news. The reason it got overturned is prosecutors really screwed up in that case. If you are charged with a crime, they can't just willy-nilly talk about everything in your life in that trial. It has to be pertinent to the charges against you. And the prosecutors in the Weinstein case thought it would be a good idea to bring in a bunch of women who were not part of the allegations against Harvey Weinstein to testify about him sexually assaulting them. That's a no-no. You can't do that. You can't do that in trial. You just can't. If those women were going to be part of the evidence submitted, they needed to be part of the charges. But many of them, it was either old incidents or for varying reasons. Good to see you, Trina Langa. Good to see you. Glad you're here. Glad our European audiences, because we're going to talk about Europe today quite a bit in Ukraine. But yeah, the Trump folks have tipped their hand as to what they're going to do in this trial. Hey, Katie Carroll, what is crazy is they think this is cool. Adults who have to wear diapers do so because they need to. Exactly. It is just dumb. There are people that need to wear diapers for incontinence. There are. And this is not something that they want to talk about. It isn't. It's something that they're not happy about. I guarantee you, there's nobody out there cheering the new Depends model coming out. It's just not happening. It's a necessary thing. It's part of life when you get older, but no. And they're running with this. They are running with this. They really are. And thank you for that comment. I appreciate you. But the Trump legal team has tipped their hand as to what they're doing. They went after Stormy Daniels' lawyer. And this is, again, non-ironic. I mean, I'm serious when I say this. Their defense of Donald Trump is going to be that he's a victim, that he is a victim of people attempting to blackmail him. Happy birthday, Mike Bundy. Everybody wish Mike a happy birthday. Man, I hope your coffee's as good as mine. But no, the defense has really tipped their hand. They went after Stormy Daniels' attorney. And thanks, Keith. I appreciate the support, man. It allows me to do this full time. See, Stormy Daniels' attorney has represented other people to negotiate these types of payments before. Famously, someone that had a story about Charlie Sheen, that Charlie Sheen didn't want to go public. They brought up he was one of the attorneys involved in the Hulk Hogan sex tape thing that ended up being a legal thing. And they went after him about that, saying, well, the FBI questioned you, didn't they? He's like, yes, they did. He was never charged with a crime. He never did anything wrong. He was never part and parcel to anything negative there, but they're just trying to give that air out there that this is somehow Donald Trump is the victim of blackmail. And they're trying, back in March, they had a hearing about the Access Hollywood tape. And Judge Merchan said, okay, look, the tape itself, playing the tape doesn't really serve any purpose. It's inflammatory. We're not going to let you play the tape. But because it goes to motive, we will let you talk about the tape. Today, Todd Blanche is trying desperately to get that thrown out because it really does go to motive. See, you can't really sell the narrative that, oh, well, you were just being blackmailed and that's what this is all about, when you actually had a reason to want these stories to go away. And you remember everybody was, the right wing were, oh, well, it's locker room talk. It's locker room talk. Well, is it really locker room talk when you start adding in he had a long-term relationship with a porn star, and then he had cheated on that porn star. He was cheating on his wife, who just had a kid with a porn star, then cheated on that Karen McDougal, and then turned around and cheated on that porn star with another porn star, Stormy Daniels. That is something his campaign did not want coming out. They're also trying to impeach Michael Cohen today. They had the data expert that was testifying for the Manhattan DA, a guy by the name of Doss. He was explaining the chain of custody. They always go after chain of custody on evidence. It's pretty standard. And they got him to say that, well, look, this phone was in Michael Cohen's custody. He plugged it into his laptop several times. He actually did a factory reset on it. Anybody could have tampered with this, that, and the other. And Doss had to say, well, yes, you can tamper with cell phones. The jury just didn't seem to be buying into that nonsense. Again, it's clear, as always with Republicans, that the goal here is to say Donald Trump is the victim, and that Donald Trump is the victim of blackmail. So they have to get everything else tying him to these stories taken off the table. They just do. Thanks, guys. I appreciate the support. I'm sorry I missed that comment, but thank you. What happens if Trump fires his attorneys? He just gets new attorneys. That's it. That's it. Todd Blanche is trying very hard to bully Juan Merchan, and Juan Merchan shut that down pretty quickly. Talking about the Feinstein the overturning of evidence in regards to Feinstein. This is not that. Juan Merchan explained that. This is not entering other people saying things into the case. This goes to motive as to why he conducted himself. This goes to motive as to why he made these hush money payments and why it was part of his campaign and campaign activity. This isn't the same as saying, we've got a guy accused of rape last November at this nightclub, but we also know somebody from 23 years ago that says that he also raped him. We're going to allow that testimony in. It's not the same thing. And Juan Merchan is not being bullied. He is not in any way falling for this. In fact, he started today's trial but basically punching Donald Trump in the face. Donald Trump has been whining all over Truth Social that he isn't being allowed to testify. It's unconstitutional. And he's just, a victim. And Judge Merchan opened today's hearing with before the jury was brought in and reminded Donald Trump what the gag order was, where it applied, that it applied to statements he made outside the court, and that he is very much welcome to testify in his own defense should his lawyers advise him to do so. Which I don't know, man. I don't know. I would tell you if it was anybody else, no way Trump takes the stand. No way if it was anybody else. But Trump, that dude is so arrogant that there's a good chance that he ends up on the stand against his lawyer's advice. That would just be a disaster legally. But yeah, I don't know that anybody could keep him off the stand. They literally have to convince him that that destroys him. But who knows? Nobody can tell Trump anything. Happy birthday, Veggie Cowgirl. One of the big things that's being talked about a lot, and I wanted to touch on this because the corporate media really doesn't give you the full story behind this stuff. Hope Hicks is expected to testify. Many thought she might testify today, and she's not. There's going to be more technical testimony. Again, you had Doss's testimony about Michael Cohen's cell phone. And right now we've got, I believe it's, Georgia Longstreet. She's a paralegal in the district attorney's office. She's the one that did all the online searches of Trump's statements and comments. Katie Carroll, go on, get crybaby Trump. He cannot keep his mouth shut. Great for us libs. Amen. Amen. Man, I hope your coffee's as good as me. Oh, by the way, that discussion just off in the left field here, that discussion we had about Cafe Bustelo and how much I really liked it. And I had it down in Mexico, so I just assumed it was Mexican coffee, this, that, and the other. And you folks just immediately gave me the background information on it. Turns out they're owned by the same parent company that owns my daily drink. We buy Dunkin', make pots of coffee. We buy Dunkin' down at Sam's and make our own pots. Bustelo is made from Cuban beans originally, but Bustelo himself is not Cuban. He was born in Spain. He moved to Cuba as a young man, and then moved to the U.S., where he founded Cafe Bustelo with Cuban beans. So yeah, but thought that was interesting. Thought that was interesting. The same company that owns Cafe Bustelo owns my Dunkin'. Well, thank you. Thank you. Mrs. Texas Paul keeps urging me to sell these shirts. These are for me to wear around town. But I don't know. We do the coffee cups. We're about to do some tumblers for the summertime because everybody likes cold drinks. Not everybody's going to be drinking coffee in the summertime. But she is really trying to talk me into selling T-shirts. But man, those are, I'm telling you, these folks that sell T-shirts, hats off to them. That is a real pain in the ass. It is. It really is. But anyways, back to the Trump trial. I want to wrap that up. I hate talking about Trump, and I want to get this wrapped up. Everybody's talking about Hope Hicks because Hope Hicks she knows where all the bodies are buried. But let me ask you a question before we get started. What do you know about Hope Hicks? I mean, what are your thoughts about Hope? You know, she headed the comm shop in the White House after Scaramucci got Scaramucci. Then she went to work for Fox and made bank at Fox for a while. And then she came back because nobody could control von Schitzenpants. And she was really the only person he would listen to. Thank you, Marco. Thank you. Is there a possibility that Governor Noam put the story in the book to deflect from a worst animal killing scandal? Oberman talked about it today. Could be. Be honest with you, it could be. Turns out there's more stories coming out, like when she put in the book that she stared down Kim Jong-un. And just quick side note on the Kristi Noem thing, since y'all brought it up. She put in the book that she stared down Kim Jong-un, and her staff has come out and said that's crap. She never met the man. That none of that ever happened. It's completely made up fiction. I actually thought with the whole dog shooting thing that she was going to go that route, because better to be called a liar than a puppy murderer. But no, she's doubling, tripling down, saying it was the right thing to do to murder that dog. And I'm like, hey, hand her more shovels. She's going to keep digging. Let her keep digging. Amen. But there's some information about Hope Hicks that I really want to talk about, because she is going to be a witness in the upcoming very soon. Tomorrow, next day, you're going to see Hope Hicks taking the stand. Everybody's seen this image of her. She's always extremely attractive. She was a model. She was a model for Ralph Lauren when she was younger. Did several magazines. That's what she did younger while she was educating herself. But that's not what she is. There's a reason she worked in the comms department. She has a pedigree. She was raised by a wealthy family in Greenwich, Connecticut. And her dad is Paul Hicks. Her dad is Paul Hicks. This is Paul Hicks. This is her dad. This is Pappy Hicks. He is a big deal in the public relations world. She has a long history. This is the family business that she's gotten into. And since leaving the White House, this is what she does. She works and what Paul Hicks does, interestingly enough, is the exact same thing that this guy does. Yeah. Hunter Biden. He's a consultant. He is a partner in Finsbury Glover Herring that does the exact same thing that Hunter Biden does. I told you before, they need to not run away from Hunter Biden. Yes, consulting, right. Consulting. He helps people that are in sticky situations. They create They make videos, they make commercials, they do everything to help people develop narratives that are in sticky situations. This is what he does. And this is Hope Hicks' pedigree. And I got to tell you, it has always bothered me that people don't take her more seriously. She is sharp. There's a reason Ivanka Trump was a hanger-oner with Hope Hicks. Her daddy is a big deal. He is a big deal. He is currently a partner, like I was saying, with Finsbury Glover Herring. But his previous gig, he's currently a partner with Finsbury Glover Herring Global. His previous gig was as the tallest hog at the trough at the Glover Park Group. And the reason I'm going this direction is, folks, we have a problem in the Democratic Party. We do. We've got a problem in the Democratic Party. We have a purity problem. I'll just put it that way. We do. Too often, we and the people we hire are far too willing to get into bed with the other side. You don't see that with MAGA. They're highly disciplined. They're not partnering up with Democrats. They don't do that. But we Democrats do it all the time. The Glover Park Group consisted of these guys. Carter Eskew, you're not going to know, but you're going to know this guy. Joe Lockhart from the Clinton administration. Joe Lockhart, who was in the comms, ran the comms for the Clinton administration. Then there was this guy. You may not remember Chip. You may not remember Chip Smith. But Chip here worked for Al Gore. And the other partner in Glover Park, got some fresh copy. Hold on. But the other partner here in Glover Park is Michael Feldman, who also worked for Al Gore. You might recognize his wife, Savannah Guthrie. Where I'm going with this is, folks, too much of the Democratic Party, and this is my own personal criticism as a ride or die Democrat, is a get along group. They're like, politics is politics, but hey, business is business. Well, Republicans are literally crucifying Hunter Biden. They're calling his activities criminal. He worked for foreign governments. Well, so does Paul Hicks. There's a reason. There's a reason FGH Global is called global. They work for foreign governments. He gets paid by foreign governments. But you don't hear a single peep out of Jim Jordan about Paul Hicks. And his daughter was privy to everything. She knows where all the bodies are buried. And yep, Hope Hicks just took the stand. Folks, I'm not okay with this. I'm not. I'm going to say it again. I've said it in the past, and I hate to be repetitive, but I'm going to say it again. We Democrats need to gut the DOJ. We Democrats, thank you, Lucky Star. I appreciate that. I appreciate your comments. Trina Langer, what do you think made Michael Cohen change when he was with Trump? He was he still is. I'll be honest with you, he still is. I don't think he's changed that much at all. I don't. I just think he plays for a different team now, his own team. Instead of doing Trump's bidding, he does Michael Cohen's bidding. And no, I don't think jail changed him as much as just made him stronger, made him a stronger person. But I don't want to get sidetracked on that. I don't. I want to finish this whole Trump trial, Hope Hicks thing. Yeah, folks, we've got to stop this. We do. Republicans are out for blood. Republicans are out for blood. Yeah, I know they do, and I have watched it myself. I find it very entertaining. I do. I am not attacking Michael Cohen when I say that. I don't think he's changed. I think he was an attorney when he worked for Trump. I think he's an attorney now. I don't think that there is any difference in Michael Cohen from one moment to the next. I think he was doing a job as a fixer. I think he would do the job as a fixer today. That's all I'm saying. But this is an important point, folks. I don't want to get lost. Hope Hicks has a deep pedigree in what she does. She is a professional. She's not some babe in the woods. She grew up in a wealthy family in Greenwich, Connecticut. Her daddy has lifelong has been a consultant. He is a wordsmith. That's the profession she's gone into. If it was a blacksmith or a carpenter, and he sycophant says many elections in Texas tomorrow. Amen, brother. There's a lot to it. And what she does, let's not, make light of Hope Hicks. She's not going to be an easy witness. She's not some lost babe in the woods. She's a professional. She's a professional. He's lost his license, but that's like saying he's not a Marine anymore. Once a lawyer, always a lawyer. Yeah, Marge should be charged for that. But the other thing, and I want to drill this home. I don't want to lose this. I'm going to wrap this Trump stuff up with this. Republicans are out for blood. They are. Literally. And we Democrats are forming companies with Republicans. We Democrats are not being diehard, ride or die, go to the mat Democrats. Everybody's thinking about their job after. And they need to be thinking about their survival today. Because someone like Donald Trump is delusional. He will be another Hitler if he takes power. He will. And this crap of, we're going to start a corporation and be buddies and this, that, and the other. It's just politics. That is not going to protect you from Donald Trump. It isn't. That man is going downhill fast, and no one's going to be able to control him. And we Democrats need to learn. We must become much more partisan. We must do things like take control of the Department of Justice. We must take control of the FBI. I mean, for Christ's sake, we're the administration. Why not? That's what the American people asked for. They want a nonpartisan DOJ. They want a nonpartisan FBI, but that's not what they're getting. Look at Robert Hur and the crap he's pulled. You know, it's like I said, if this Supreme Court leaves immunity on the table, we're going to be too tempted to stick to our morals and sit and not pick it up. We're going to leave that fascism on the table. And if we ever lose power, the Republicans will pick it up, and it'll still be there because we left it there. Folks, I cannot preach enough. We have to become more militant, more aggressive. We have to. These are the people that we're dealing with. And, you know, I talk about you all the time, and I try to remind you folks, you are good people. I do too, Steve. I just can't do it. I have to do a more serious show on this. And I have to maintain, I lose it every once in a while, but I have to maintain my temper because I will lose my channel. Look at other creators. They lose their channels, and the message isn't too important. And morphing into just some more news that we had today. You know, I try to tell you people, you're the better people. You're good people, and it's important what you do. It is important what you do. Folks, when I say you get me through because you are better people, you remind me, you restore my faith in humanity. I'm not joking. You know, this is the news. Texas man gets 5-year prison term and $200,000 fine for his January 6th riot case. He brought you can see here this, I wouldn't even call that bear spray. That just looks like a mace weapon to January 6th. He was attacking cops. He's on video attacking cops over and over and over again. Where he fits into this, and I'll let you listen to what he has to say first.
So, yes, today, Ryan Nichols grabbed his fucking weapon and he stormed the Capitol and he fought for freedom, for election integrity. I fought. So, yes, today, Ryan Nichols grabbed his fucking weapon and he stormed the Capitol and he fought.
What's so important about Ryan Nichols? Well, to you, maybe not much. He's my neighbor. Yeah, he lives minutes from me. He lives in a little town called Longview, which is just right over there. He went there on January 6th. He was attacking cops. He's going to, he's going to jail. He's going to spend it's federal too, folks. It's not like a state conviction. He's going to spend a long time in jail. So when I tell you, I'm talking to these people around here and they're freaking nuts. Yeah, that's my neighbor. Yeah, he seems nice, right? Terry Taylor, he seems nice. Yeah, and he's not alone. He's not a one-off. More of them may not have gone to D.C., but a lot of them support what he did. 5 years in jail, $200,000 fine for Trump. For Trump. Not election integrity. There was no election integrity to fight for. It was already there. This was one of the most secure elections we had ever had. Trump just lost. It wasn't rigged. You're just a loser. And Trump is already gearing up for another January 6th. When he loses this, and he's going to lose, folks. Because your choice is the 2025 Project and fascism, more rolling back of women's rights. They're going to make, women just wholesale property is what they're going to do. If Trump gets elected, that's what they're going to do. They're just going to make women wholesale just property. You're going to lose your divorce rights. You're going to lose they're going to shred your rights. You can either stay home and let that happen, or you can vote for Joe Biden. And along that point, I want to talk about this. They just had a crackdown of these protests at these universities. And I took a lot of hell after October 7th. I took a lot of hell. I did. A lot of people attacking me from the left because I wouldn't jump on this train. Folks, I've supported the Palestinian people for decades, but I'm also aware of what's going on in that region. I know that Yasser Arafat would not make a deal, had several deals offered to him that were good deals that meant Palestinian homeland, Palestinian autonomy, would never take the deal, and he died a billionaire because of it. Because there is money in being a Palestinian leader. There is money to be made in their suffering. I know that. And I know Netanyahu. Netanyahu's hold to power is fear. I've always known that. And I've always supported Israel's right to exist as Israel is, and a homeland for the Palestinian people. But this movement isn't it. This is more Arafat. This is more taking advantage of the Palestinian people and their suffering and inducing more suffering. Folks, when they arrested these people at Columbia, 30% of them had no affiliation with the university whatsoever. They were outside agitators. Not students, not faculty. They were just people that professionally caused problems. It was even worse at New York City College. There were 60% of the students they arrested at New York City College, or I said arrested students. No, 60% of the people they arrested at New York City College were not students of New York City College. They weren't faculty. They're professional agitators. They're just like the caravans down at the southern border. They are paid for and organized by Russia. These people don't give a crap about the Palestinian people at all. At all. They don't. And those students that were involved, go back 6 months. Go back to last summer. They didn't care. They didn't care what was going on in Gaza. They didn't give a damn. And yet they want to attack me, who actually did care and actually does want a solution. And I know the solution doesn't involve Hamas. GOP, IRGC, and Putin loving the college campus chaos. They are absolutely loving this. They're not only are they loving it, they're paying for it. These people who went to the Capitol had money. Why are they so discontent? Yeah, they had. Yeah, exactly. Katie Carroll says, thank you for the support, Katie. I appreciate you being a patron. I am a Sam Adams rabble rouser. We Dems need to be like him. Yeah, we need to get a lot more aggressive. But these people they're arresting at ASU, at Arizona State, 80% of the people they arrested weren't students or faculty. 4 out of 5. Folks, this is a paid for AstroTurf movement, just like the southern border. Jeanette Dahl says, I've heard Republicans have filed lawsuits to cast doubt on the election. It is in several states where it happens. They are not only are they filing lawsuits, they are abusing their authority everywhere they have authority. They are doing everything they can to call into question the validity of these elections. They are, because they know they're going to lose. Great question, Papa Blue. Why don't you see protests about Ukraine? There's something here. I accidentally deleted it. You have to forgive me. I'm going to take a second to pull it up. Stick with me. There's more updates on Hicks' testimony. By the way, Washington Post is one of the subscriptions you pay for. They're doing an amazing job. They have two reporters, two journalists in the courtroom that are live tweeting what's going on. If you want up to date, this is happening right now. New York Post is doing a great job. Let me get you David Cameron. Hold on. You know, we talked about Grant Shapps and how he was too scared to go to Ukraine. He's the Minister of Defense. And he is a Putin sycophant. Well, David Cameron is not. He's the Foreign Secretary. He's been to Ukraine multiple times. And this is David Cameron from Ukraine. In Kyiv. I'm going to play the video for you so you can hear things out of his own mouth.
Now, Britain is not only one of the biggest supporters of Ukraine, diplomatically, economically, and crucially militarily, we're also one of the fastest. We were one of the first to provide weapons when this country was illegally attacked by Putin. We were the first to sign this new security partnership. And recently, we've been the first to announce a multi-year package of funding for Ukraine, including military support. That is £3 billion a year, not just this year and next year, but for as many years as Ukraine needs it. Why is it so important to do this? Well, it's important because Ukraine needs help now. They've done brilliantly on the Black Sea, sinking so much of Putin's Black Sea fleet, but there are challenges on land and they need to meet those challenges. It's also important to be fast because it gives us leverage. It gives us the ability to say to other countries, we're making that multi-year commitment, you should make that multi-year commitment too. Why does this all matter so much? Well, it matters crucially for this country, a sovereign country that was illegally invaded and they want their territorial integrity back. But it also matters for us. Ukrainian security is about European security, it's about British security. And as I see it, there are two futures here for us. One is we push back Putin, there's a just peace and this country recovers its sovereignty and NATO will be stronger, Europe will be stronger, Britain will be stronger. But there is an alternative scenario where we don't back Ukraine sufficiently, where Putin scores a win here in Ukraine and we'll be living in a far more unsafe and uncertain and dangerous world that will cost us in so many ways. So the investment we're making today in Ukraine's security is the best possible investment we could make in our own security and our own prosperity. And that's why I'm so passionate about getting this right.
Folks in the chat, you just need to stop. This is not a David Cameron cheerleading moment. This is going somewhere. Just relax. Yes, he's pulled some jackass maneuvers, but he made some big news. In that exchange, he was asked about utilizing British weapons in Russia. And absolutely, as Foreign Secretary said, yes, absolutely. Then he was asked again, what about the storm shadows? Can they use the storm shadows in Russia? And David Cameron gave the perfect answer. Russia is in Ukraine, attacking Ukraine on Ukraine's soil. Why could Ukraine not attack Russia on Russian soil? That is a tectonic shift in Western support for Ukraine. We have been making Ukraine fight with one arm behind its back, tied behind their back. They've been having to use homemade drones to strike at the Black Sea Fleet. They've been having to use homemade drones to attack oil refineries. Right now, the French, Macron just came out and doubled down on his statements about if Russia begins to push these lines farther into Ukraine, French troops will be fighting in Ukraine. He came down and doubled down on that, just to clarify. Now you have the British, and these are not leftist Brits. They are not. They are the right wing of Britain, coming out and saying, look, this is serious. This is deadly serious. You can absolutely use our Storm Shadow missiles, which is, by the way, a fantastic weapon platform. It is the Storm Shadow. If you don't know, it is a bunker buster. It is a low flying cruise missile. It's launched from aircraft. The biggest problem Ukraine has had about using the Storm Shadow is, one, they're $1 million a pop, and two, most of their aircraft was old Russian aircraft that didn't have the capability to launch the Storm Shadow. Well, the F-16s get there now. In the next week, you're going to see the F-16s, which absolutely can launch the Storm Shadows, are in Ukraine. This coming week, the F-16s come to Ukraine. And their Air Force, who has been training at Western facilities in the UK and around Europe, will be in this fight. And they will absolutely, you're going to see a lot more targets. And I can't rave enough about the Storm Shadow. The French call it the Scalp. Same missile. Very difficult to shoot down. Flight's very low. Does a terminal pop up at the end of its flight? Give you an idea. Artillery, you could target a block. A Storm Shadow, you can pick the window. They're that accurate. And they're bunker busting in that they have dual charges. They hit a target. The first charge is designed to blast through where they're hitting, which delivers a 450 kilogram explosive charge that is just devastating. And the best example I've heard give about the Storm Shadow and how effective it is put a firecracker in your hand, light it, and let it go off, and you get a bad burn, maybe a contusion. Take a firecracker, put it in. Brian Peach says, Ukraine was a happy family and farming community before the Russians came. I hope that Moscow Marge is happy that peaceful people have died because of what she has said. Outstanding. Outstanding. Going back to my example about the Storm Shadow, if you take that same firecracker, light it, and then wrap your hand around it, when it goes off, you're going to lose maybe some fingers. You might even lose your whole hand. That's the Storm Shadow missile. They're outstanding. They really are. And they're going to make a difference. And don't get me wrong, this is not a mass bombardment kind of weapon system. This is, I have intelligence that says someone of importance is in Rostov-on-Don in Russia. They can hit that target. Not only can they hit a building, they can pick where in that building they hit. They're really that good. Veggie Owl Girl says, Texas Paul, are those the missiles we used in the Persian Gulf War? No, ours are better. All that money goes places. Ours are actually better. Ours have more range. The Storm Shadow is a little bit harder to detect because it's really good at flying low, but it does have limited range. So yeah, things are changing, folks, in Ukraine over the next few weeks. That's why I ordered my MUGA hat. Sure, yeah, make Ukraine great again. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Europe shouldn't have to put up with this nonsense. You know, our audience members in Denmark and Finland and the UK and Germany shouldn't have to sit there and wonder if this is going to domino into a war across Europe. Yes, Estonia, the Baltic countries, Latvia, Estonia, they are all. Everyone is absolutely. They're completely clear on this. They don't have the Republican problem that we do. They don't. They don't have the Republican problem that we do here in this country. Well, look, folks, that's what I've got for you today. I'm keeping track of the updates going on in the Trump trial as we speak. I've been promising a good roundtable, and we've just had shows run long, guests, whatnot. Let's do it today. We have plenty of time. Any questions that you have, any direction you want to go to, whatever you want to talk about, now's the time. Put those comments in the chat and let's do it. Yeah. You know, I had to do a story on that, what everybody's doing as far as support for Ukraine. This summer is going to be hugely different. I tell you what just enrages me, though, is Republicans dragging their feet. Hell, we drug our feet on getting them the F-16s. We've been so scared of here's the deal, folks. We have had a position that we're not going to provide any weapons that they can use to attack inside Russia. That's been our position because we've been so freaking scared. Earth Systems says, question isn't the DOJ creating a military resistance unit when how is all those rioters together in their own separate block? Clarify that a little bit, my friend. I don't know exactly what you want me to comment on that. Michael Thomas, thank you, bud. But look, that's been our policy. Don't give Ukraine any weapons. Hold their arm behind their back. Let Russia attack Ukraine, but we're not going to let Ukraine use our weapons because we just don't want an escalation with Russia. Well, folks, that's what's going to happen. The UK understands. In this statement that they've just made, yes, Iboland, we will have a functioning two-party system again. As soon as we can finish killing you folks in this next election are in the unique position that if you will get your asses out and vote, you can kill the Republican Party and we can see what's next because there is room. This is a two-party system. Another party will come up in its place. The elephant in the room, are we in the beginning stages of World War III or only headed in that direction? Here's the thing. No, not right now. You've got the Biden administration that is being extremely cautious. So much so I don't like it. It's too much. It's too much. You cannot ask the Ukrainians to fight with one arm tied behind their back. They have been brilliantly targeting Russia's fuel infrastructure. They're doing a good job. They're showing they're not attacking populations. They're not doing what Russia does. Russians are freaking terrorists. Russians are just carpet bombing civilians. Ukraine is not doing that. Cut them loose. Give them the long-range ATACMS. Let them hit Russia in Russia. Let Russia have a taste of its own. What we are trying to prevent, and Ukraine made a calculation. This was not uncalculated. The UK coming out and saying, yes, you can absolutely attack Russia in Russia. Russia will now utilize a third party, and they will attack the UK. That's going to happen. New kid, were you able to look up Bishop Barron, see Steve Schmidt's Substack article regarding? No, I haven't gotten into it yet. I haven't. I'll be honest with you. Have you heard about how Texas is changing ballots to have consecutive serial numbers at a massive cost to taxpayers? I'll add, there are so many things. I'm going to do an entire show on just the folks. I cannot stress to you enough, not just Texas. I'll talk about Texas, of course, but everywhere Republicans have power, they're doing anything they can to keep a small percentage of you from being able to vote. You have to commit now to being ride or die. If you have to stand in line for 12 hours, do it. Do what you have to do. Republicans are working in every single state they have power to try to make it difficult for you to vote because they know it comes down to a few percentage points. And I wish we Democrats, if we just gerrymandered California and New York alone, there would never be another Republican majority. But, we're going to polish our principles. Earth System says, question, when you house all the J6 rioters together in pretrial detention in their own separate block, isn't that creating a resistance unit of cohesion? Yes. Yes. That's what I'm talking about. We need Democrats running this, not Republicans. The Department of Justice is diseased with Republicans. We need Democrats that aren't scared to be Democrats. Republicans have no problem attacking us. We need to be just as aggressive or more. Good question, man. Good question. So, yeah, folks, Russia is going to attack.
There's no connection.
Excuse me?
There's no connection. We lost you.
No.
Okay.
No, we're good. Y'all can see me and hear me, right? My producer lost connection. Jeanette Dahl says, how can there be places in the U.S. where you don't elect the mayor, but that post is inherited? I find it hard to understand that there's several. That's not true. That's not true, Jeanette. That one, thank you for asking that. That is not true. Even small town mayors are elected. The problem is that you have in a lot of these small towns, especially rural small towns, you'll have one powerful family. They own the hardware store. They own the fast food joints. They own everything, and they buy the mayor. They just do. So yeah, that happens. That does happen. But no, they still hold elections. And yeah, it's going to be a fight, but we can change it. We can. But let me wrap this UK thing up while y'all are coming up with some more questions, because they're really good questions. The UK made the calculation and the understanding that in saying this and cutting the Ukrainians loose, saying, hey, you can use whatever munitions we give you in Russia proper. Go ahead. They know what Putin's going to do. Putin is going to use a third party, and they're going to attack the UK. It will be something like a terrorist attack on the UK airbase in Cyprus, something along those lines. It's like I tell people all the time. If you get into a fight, expect to get punched in the face. Rarely, if ever, is a fight, do you get into a fight that you don't take a shot. Sometimes you dominate, but more often than not, you're going to get punched right in the face. And you got to be ready for it. I guarantee you, UK made the calculation that is what Russia is. They are a terrorist state. They're not going to take it as, oh, well, you make a good point. We did invade Ukraine, therefore it is really fair that Ukraine can attack us. Fair is fair. No, they are going to attack the UK. We are desperately trying to avoid that here in the United States. With two biggest kids on the block, eventually they're going to fight. Joe Biden is doing everything he can to try to keep those fights from happening. But at some point, you just got to fight. At some point, you just got to fight. I mean, I don't know if you agree with me. You don't have to. But you can't go through life. It's like they're talking about the terms they talk about. Again, I'll go back to immigration because the Republicans have put so much on the record about immigration. You need to shut down the border. Well, you can't do that. There's 500 million people just between the United States and Mexico. Before you start talking about Canada and Central America and South America, there's 500 million people in just the United States and Mexico. You can't shut down that border. There's going to be trade. There's going to be immigration. That's the way it is. You manage your border. It's the same notion that these people have. Oh, we can't do this because Russia will. They're going to attack us anyways. They are. They try to attack our troops. We have bases in Syria and Iraq. They try to attack those. They utilize, fund, train jihadis to attack us already. Sometimes you just got to take the shot. Sometimes when somebody is picking at you, you have to turn around and you have to knock them on their ass. And that, to me, is what needs to happen here. While we have a solid coalition, hell, even has had enough of Russia. Even Turkey has had enough of Russia. Georgians are in the streets right now. As we speak, as we're doing this, Georgians in Georgia, and I don't mean, I mean Georgia, the country they're named after, are in the streets right now, protesting Russian interference in their government. They're tired of it. While we have this momentum, we need to go at it. We do. We need to arm the Ukraine. They're willing to do the fighting and the dying. And Putin has said, he has made a public statement, I may die over this. Trying to scare his oligarchs that are around him. Oblige him. Kim Bandy says, Texas Paul, besides voting and writing postcards to remind people to vote, what can the average Joe citizen do to help save our democracy? Nobody likes to hear this, but give money. Money. Your support of me allows me to do this full time, but I'm not talking about send money to me. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying your support of me allows me to do this full time. Your support of candidates allows them to slug it out in information wars. Money is a big thing. Even if it's $2, man, $5. I know nobody likes to hear. I hate when people try to get in my pocket. I hate that, but it is the truth. The Republicans are well funded. We have to fight back monetarily. That's one thing you can do. The other thing you can do, phone bank. Everybody has a cell phone now. You don't even have to be in the state that the candidate is in. We've got a critical race in Arizona right now. You can phone bank for Ruben Gallego. I don't care if you're in Maryland. You can. They'll show you how to do it. Time, effort, and finances it's real. We're in a real fight. Medusa says defense is key. We don't attack, we defend. Sometimes the best defense is a good offense. Sometimes it is. Lori H says enough is enough. Amen. Amen. Enough is enough. And ladies, I just want to say this again. I have been so sick at what I've been seeing. This whole bear thing. Would you rather run into a man or a bear in the woods? And the stupid mansplaining crap that has come out of the right on this. Well, don't you know how dangerous a bear is? Yeah, they know, guy. They know, dummy. You're not getting the message. If that was your thought, you're not getting the message. Yeah, I've talked about Moldova and Transnistria and stuff, and that's a great, Mobius, great question there. And we're going to talk about it more. Folks, this summer is going to be very hot in Ukraine. It is. The fighting there is going to escalate like you have never seen. If you thought this winter's offensive was big, it's nothing. It's nothing. Everybody is cutting Ukraine loose. The weaponry, the advanced weaponry is getting there now. And it's just getting more and more and more. Learning to love myself. That's a great title, by the way. That is a great handle. Do you think that the stunt that Republican Tommy Tuberville did by holding up promotions weakened our military? Was he working with? Yes, absolutely. You know what that did? It screwed military members out of their retirements, a big chunk of their retirements, because it ended up costing people. You have only so much time in position in the military. You're not going to park in a job for 20 years in the military. You're not. You advance or you get the hell out. So many people that would have advanced to that next rank and that next job were held up. So many of them were just acting in those jobs because of Tuberville. He ended up costing them real money in their retirement paychecks. Hell yeah, he was working for Putin when he did that. I will say that bluntly. That is doing Putin's work. It definitely, Old Silver, it definitely impacted morale. Great point. Pindache says, don't you think Putin can only be stopped by opposition from inside Russia? Yeah. Here's the thing, folks. Russians historically, and this has not changed, will suffer death. They will. They will watch their sons die. They're coming up on 500,000 dead Russians in Ukraine. The Ukrainians are killing Russians by a factor of 10. And the Russians will shrug that off. What they will not shrug off is losing territory. And I know when Philip Ittner says this, it doesn't really hit home because we don't really think about it in terms of ourselves. If we had a conflict and people were dying, that's one thing. But let's say we got into a conflict with China, and China became aggressive, and they took Samoa. That'd be a very different thing completely, wouldn't it? It's one thing to be fighting over there, but when somebody takes land from you, why do you think the Ukrainians are fighting so admirably? The Russians took their land. And that's a really hard thing to wrap your mind around. What will cause Putin's downfall is when Russia begins to lose for good Crimea. That is going to be huge inside Russia. That will be an earthquake in Putin's support. And they will lose it this summer. They will. I'll stick my neck out. I will make a prediction. This summer is going to be horrific for Russia. They're trying desperately to get more S-400s set up to try to counter the reconstituted Ukrainian Air Force. When Putin loses Ukraine, that will be the beginning of the end, Crimea. That will be the beginning of the end for Russia. That would be the best way. That would be like Mexico taking Texas back. That big a deal. I mean, the parallels aren't exact. I know that. Don't get me wrong. I know the parallels aren't exact, but it would be that big a deal. And I tell you, folks, it won't be the casualties that do it. It won't. For some reason, look, Russia's never had a democracy, so they don't give a crap about democracy. They don't. They don't give a crap about freedom. They don't. That you sound stupid to them when you talk about democracy. You do. To them, you sound stupid when you talk. They have never in their lives had a democracy. That is one characteristic with them. They have always followed a monarchy. Even a monarchy like the one they have today, Putin is a monarchy. He just pretends to have elections. Everybody knows it's a monarchy. Everybody knows that Putin will pick his successor. That's what they accept in Russia. The other thing is death. I do not understand this. It is culturally different. You know, we lost 50,000 people in Vietnam, and everybody in the United States thought that was the end of the world. Russia shrugs that stuff off. They're coming up on 500,000 of their young men dead, and they don't care. They really don't care. And Geneva Conventions and all of that is nonsense. It's just pure nonsense. To them, it's all pure nonsense. You do anything that you have to do, period. That's the way Russia looks at war, and it's the way they have always conducted themselves. They will brutally torture people they capture. It's just who they are. And we need to wake up to the fact that we are in a unique position. Because think back to 2000. Think back to the reset back, in the 90s and the collapse of Russia and all the dreams everybody had about there's going to be a new Russia. They're going to be part of Europe. They're going to be, trading partners, and it's going to be great. No. Dennis and Jan say, like Texas Paul said, you can be in Maryland and support somebody in Arizona or Wisconsin or Georgia. Go directly to them, then choose your way of donating, whether it's money or time or money. Yeah, exactly. What's going to happen this time is there's not going to be any reconstituting Russia. There's not going to be any helping Russia back on their feet. Europe has learned. We have learned. Russia is a destabilizing factor in the world, and they need to be a C-team country. They do. Their delusions of world dominance and all of that needs to be broken. It needs to be broken. It does. Absolutely. Third world. I'm not saying their people have to suffer. I'm not saying that they have to lose infrastructure and all of that but they cannot be allowed It's got to be broken up. It does. It's got to be broken up so that they can't wield the kind of influence that they do now, because they just have no guardrails at all. You know, anytime we wanted, we could just turn Israel loose. We're good. We could arm them to the teeth and turn Israel loose on its neighbors. We don't do that. You know, in fact, we're fighting against Netanyahu. We're talking about sanctioning IDF units. We are. Blinken has issued a threat to the Netanyahu government and said, look, we're not down with what you're doing. We're going to support sanctioning IDF units if you keep it up. We are. We're not like Russia. Russia, with Assad, when Assad was facing challenges within his own country, I'll get to that in just a second, Suburban Housewife. Leave that question up. When Assad was facing difficulties in Syria, civil war, Russia not only said, do what you want, they said, here, let us do it for you. You know, everybody's like, Israel killed 30,000 Palestinians. Assad killed 300,000. I'm not saying what Israel did is okay. Everything they did is okay. Don't put words in my mouth. But I'm talking about Russia now and what Russia does. They've got to be broken up. They do. They have to be broken up. Suburban Housewife says, would China like to have Mongolia? Yes. And Mongolia, which has put its thumb in China's eye forever, sorry, reading something. Mongolia has been sticking their thumb in China's eyes, saying, we're buddies with Russia. You can't touch us. There's nothing you can do. Yeah, that's over with. They are making very nice with China right now. The writing is on the wall. This is going to be one thing after another. After Ukraine defeats Russia, and they will, you're going to see Mongolia sue for independence. They're going to turn to China for support. There's a lot that's going to happen in that region. All right. You know, China is actually very complex. I don't know that China is going to swallow Mongolia as much as just have a lot of influence there. And, you know, people, especially on the right, like to talk about China and Russia like they're interchangeable. These two things are not the same. They're not the same. They don't have the same goals. Yes, China wants good things for China. They do. They want influence in the world so that it helps their business. They do. They want all of that. Don't get me wrong. So do we. I can understand China. Russia, I do not understand. They're not the same animal. These are not interchangeable things. Learning to Love Myself says, I saw Jared on a program urging Israel to finish the job of decimating the Palestinians. He states that they had plans to build hotels on the beachfront property of Gaza. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't see those comments, but yeah, he did make some really asinine comments about how it'd be great to develop that. I said it myself. I said, the Palestinians have to throw Hamas off. Hamas is in it for Hamas and only Hamas, and their leaders are billionaires because of it. They live off the suffering of the Palestinians. They're not into building a beautiful Palestine. And it could be. Gaza could be amazing. It really could be. It used to be much more beautiful than it is now. Before they kicked all the Jewish folks out, there were resorts in Gaza, folks. Yes, we are growing. Hey, hit that thumbs up button. Let's get this out with the algorithm. You know, we've had 3,000 people in here before, 3,500 people in here before. The way you make that happen, you talk about, hey, what can I do? Simple thing. Hit the thumbs up button. That recommends us in the algorithm to other people so other people can get involved in these conversations. We can get more people in the live chat. Yeah. Russia pretends to be this cosmopolitan, multicultural state. It isn't. The bigots rule. The bigots rule Russia. They do. They're a very bigoted people. All right, folks. We are running out of time. Thank you for the nice round table. I really appreciate it. Glad you could be here. We'll talk more about what's going on. We will see you. We will see you this Sunday. Enjoy your weekend. We made it. It's Friday. We made it through another week. I'm so glad you could be here, folks. Y'all have a wonderful day. Enjoy some Texas cities at night.